Ah, this is my favorite spot because this is where I do all my gardening planning and thinking about and learning. I sit here and I watch YouTube videos, ask questions, and gardening is so much fun. There's so much to learn too. So if you're like me, I started 6 months ago and I literally have millions of questions. And what I've noticed that when I go and ask people questions, like my dad, for example, he's been gardening for 50 years. He said that when you ask the same question to many gardeners, you're going to come back with different answers. Now, while that's true, you can still shortcut your learning experience by asking questions to other people. So that's why I've taken the time to go to YouTube and learn from others that have been doing this for a long time. And he even goes to local groups like Facebook and local nurseries to gain more knowledge for himself, because what happens as a gardener is we basically try new things that you've never done before, and you'll come across new problems that you've never experienced, and you'll have questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a tour of and show other people's gardens off and learn from what they've done, the good and the bad. So here we go. I'm going to take you on a tour of my dad's garden and hope you like it and come away with some things that you can use with your own garden.
This is one of my favorite spots of the garden.
Half the blossoms will drop off, the other half will produce. And now down in here you see limes growing at different sizes.
This is the nursery slash.
Yep, this is where you get them all started. And you can see the yellow bell peppers from seeds from last year's bell peppers are coming up very, very good.
I've always liked how this vine will make the side yard look amazing over the chicken coop area.
Start growing that cat's claw, and it puts out yellow flowers just once a year in the spring. It looks beautiful when it's in flowers. I've got pictures when it's in flower, but that's the entryway into the garden. But you see, these are going to be yellow and red peppers. They always come out green at the start, and then they start to turn their colors. These over here will become yellow peppers or orange when they get matured. And they're just, and these stayed over the entire winter.
These cages are strong.
They are.
I want to build some cages like that.
And a little-
You've got
little
tomatoes growing in your compost.
Yes, volunteer. And my strawberries are coming back from having been away from them for a while. If you leave anything for a while, you have a price you have to pay, right? This one needs a little stick along here, but my seeds are almost ready. And inside here, are little radish seeds. And I just have to wait a little bit longer, and we'll have
Try them out.
radishes. Yes,
Are you gonna just leave them in the pods when you replant them?
probably.
Look at
Lady Banks rose.
your growing like crazy.
Yes. And also included in that, if you see these leaves, you see like this. If you see these trumpet vine,
And what's the white one?
Lady Banks rose.
Okay.
And I put a third one in there just to make it smell good. You see this? This is star jasmine. And if you look up in here, you see star jasmine mixed up in it also. So that will be hanging orange, yellow
Yeah, I don't.
trumpet vines.
I do remember this lower one. What are you gonna do here?
Gonna put cantaloupes and watermelon miniatures.
You are gonna do vertical gardening.
Yes, and I'm gonna have them hanging down.
I was just talking to my wife about doing this.
is PVC, and inside it is rebar. So you have the half-inch rebar.
Inside the PVC, or
Yes.
really?
So that's the strength. And this is just a little bit more covering. And I put concrete reinforcing wire that we make our tomato cages out
Yeah.
of. I put those up on top. And then
I'm
I
so jealous.
plant my vines here to come up and go over that. So this will have,
What is that right there down there?
this is what they call Mexican petunias. It has a purple flower. I don't see much of the flowers left now. It has a purple flower, and it grows like crazy. It's very invasive. It grows everywhere.
It's kind of in your way of your
It
vertical
is.
gardening.
It is. So I come along here with my trimmers and I trim it so it's about 6 or 8 inches high, and then it gives whatever I plant here a chance to catch up and go instead. And this is a beautiful blue vine that I like a lot, but it's not a vine, it's just a tall bush. And if you turn around, you see my neighbor's got it
Oh wow.
going on this side.
That
But
is
isn't that
too.
beautiful up there?
Yes.
I like that. And these are a beautiful orange mum, and across from it is a beautiful purple mum.
Take it. Got a tomato in here.
And I put the tomato in there just for the fun of it. Now, for some reason, the
Getting eaten up or something?
no, the
Is that-
fertilizers that I've been using are sticking to the leaves.
What kind of fertilizer are you using?
That was probably a Miracle Grow, and it surprises me that it did that because it's water soluble. It normally just soaks into the leaves, so maybe it's something else. Verbenas are usually red or pink with a red center or a white center. These are pure white, which is kind of unusual.
Real nice.
They're coming on good.
And what kind of trees?
This was Tangelo.
Tangelo. Oh yeah.
That's tangerine, and it had hundreds of tangerines on it last year, and I had to put stakes up to support the limbs because it was too young to support that many
Yeah.
tangerines. This one went backwards for 3.5 years.
Didn't grow, are they?
The last 6 months, it finally is starting to come up with healthy leaves.
What
Now-
made
now-
it get stunted, do you think?
It somehow didn't like what it was exposed to. And I'll very carefully pull these things off and pull the seeds out and bag them, and then I can plant cilantro during the year. But I've got thousands of cilantro
Where's your
seeds.
asparagus? I thought it was right here.
It's right here. Oh, this is the asparagus, and it takes years. You plant asparagus, and 2 years later you start to get your first ones.
Oh, you're going to seed at the top there.
Yeah, but watch over here. If you can watch carefully as it puts out new shoots, and you catch them when they're tender, they would become asparagus spears. But I usually miss them, and they just grow and make a bigger asparagus plant. Hibiscus is doing good. It puts out a flower. It exposed for 1 day, like this would be out for tomorrow, and then it'll go away. It'll drop off, and another one on the plant appears. So this one likes it to be a little bit drier than my normal drip line. So I had to be careful on this one to not overwater it. If you overwater it, it wants to soak and die.
What is the vine on this right here? I love
Called
this art.
cat's claw.
What is it on?
I
Wood?
put a metal arch that I bought at the Home Depot type. Here's the concrete reinforcing,
Oh wow,
stage.
that's a
and these
big
are
change.
5 foot tall in the pot, but it's covered in the patio tomatoes. This one's got cherry tomatoes in it, but it's
How-
all over the place.
How are you watering everything? Is it all by drip?
Drip into everything.
Every plant has one or more than one drip?
One or more, just depends on how big it is. And the size I normally use is 2-gallon emitters. That's what I
Too
have
complicated for-
I have about 6 watering systems.
Oh my gosh. Okay, show
This,
me
this,
show me
is, this is Chinese wisteria.
Oh gosh.
This grows up
Big.
and comes down with purple blossoms hanging down in a cascade of blossoms. It's absolutely going to be beautiful when it fills in this corner. This is parsley. Okay. And this one is marjoram. Okay. And that one's a different variety of basil than I recognize. I've got another kind of basil that I like. But you see, all I do is just run a drip
Yeah.
up there to every pot. Now, if you look in here,
You must have really calloused fingers from how many drips you've poked holes into the tube.
and there's a tool that you can use
Oh, you use the tool.
both ways. All right, this you see a little bit of green powder.
Mm-hmm.
That's Miracle Grow, where I fertilized a few days ago with Miracle Grow. And the petunias, they won't make it. So normally you take those out and put in something that'll go through the summer,
Interesting.
like marigolds. Marigolds love the heat. I'm going to transfer right into that spot right there, the banana tree.
Oh, you want more shade?
I needed to be shaded enough that the banana tree gets up before the sun burns the leaves.
Oh.
So this tree is acting as the filter to the sun.
You look like you have a bird at the top of your post there, Dad.
It is
Without the head.
Without a head. It probably scared the birds more when the head sprung off.
What in the world?
I stuck bird
So
feathers
creepy.
on the owl, the plastic owl, and it looked pretty darn real. And when the wind blew, the feathers would quiver a little bit. A bird would be coming in to land in this tree and just divert 90 degrees immediately. It was really fun to watch.
So, you don't encourage birds in your
Well,
garden
they
haven?
have a tendency to get in and scratch around and take my seeds that are getting ready to sprout.
Okay, this is too much.
This is
This is a
my-
mobile garden.
This is my garden cart, and it had wire in it, and all I did is just put a shade cloth in it to help hold the soil in. Put nothing but organic garden mulch that I made in these barrels over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is something too.
And then I added the drip line,
5 of them.
and I put 2 or 3 drips in there just to let water come out at a gallon, okay? And then I put a spray up there to help bring up the seedlings. Now, most of these big ones here on top are going to be radishes.
Does that spray actually get it all the way across?
Yes. It actually lands right about out here.
Really?
And then
I gotta get me one of those ones.
and
'cause
then I
mine-
adjust this so I can get the spray to be just as perfect as I can to the area I want it in.
Okay.
Are red jalapeno peppers. I grow those just so that I get hot peppers
But you don't even
put
like
into
hot.
my mix. No, I put them in my mix as an insect
Oh.
deterrent on the plants.
You don't even grow it to eat it. You grow it to kill insects.
Right, it'd kill me if I
That's-
eat it. 1/2 inch pipe,
I gotta do that.
rebar, and then the 1/2 inch plastic PVC, and then I train in this case it's a cat's claw.
I have a spot right next to my front door I want to do something like that with.
And all these guys are seeded by themselves from the mother plants over on those other walls.
Okay.
And as they grow, I just come along and trim them, and I drop the trimmings down in here and make compost with it.
Yeah. Yep. Used to that routine.
And this one is composted already by probably a year. And inside here is where I planted all my strawberry plants.
Where'd you get that strawberry idea?
Well, that came from a guy that had a real strawberry basket box mix, whatever you want to call it.
Strawberry tower?
Yeah. All right, let's go back here now. Garden shed, where I keep all the gardening stuffs. But all of my seeds that I harvest and keep are in those boxes over there that say
that's a gold mine right
summer,
there.
spring, and winter. And each one of these has a different mix in it. And I put the formula on it so I know how much to put back in it. That one's Miracle Grow. That was Moon Juice. I got that from a nursery by buying some plants once. So I just followed the directions and made a 2-gallon sprayer out of it.
Huh.
And that was a weed killer. Okay. But the best weed killer is this one right here. Is white vinegar from Costco. You pay $6, I think, and you get 2 gallons of white vinegar.
Interesting.
And when you put this into a gallon container and you put in a little bit of Epsom salt, like a cup of it, and you go around spraying your weeds in cracks and crevices and sidewalks and whatever,
Yeah.
man, they die in one day. They just shrivel up and they're out of here.
Okay.
So I like
Vinegar's the key.
Yep. That right there, if you get close, is the time clocks and the settings and where they're located. So there's looks like 7 clocks all over the yard. Don't need that many, but that's how many I ended up with. And that's the vegetable planting guide over there.
Yeah, I use that now that you
And
put
then
me
this
onto
one
it.
is the 15 shade tolerant plants. When you find zones in your yard
You
that
never
are
showed me
shaded,
that one.
then these are the types of things you can grow in shade.
Wow.
And then this one is going to be each season. I'll put up there what my steps are that I need to do to make sure everything works. Vines are fun. Purple one is a member of the Morning Glory family. I think it's called Sky Dawn. That's its color. And better than, but it also makes the temperature where the aviary is at least 10 degrees colder. I want you to notice
Oh
the roots.
my gosh. Complete infestation.
See? So that is the typical problem with that particular vine, is that it doesn't share with anybody else.
What is
But-
it called again?
That's called a Sky Dawn, and it's a member of the Morning Glory family. I'll take all these roots and put it in my compost. I put some red bell peppers. This is the last year's bell peppers, but they'll come up and they'll fill into this cage. But I have to go quick because this vine just wants to take over every space it can find. Araconda hens, which means they lay blue and green Easter eggs. And the other 4 hens lay brown eggs. And they're now about 1.5 years old. So when I come over here on this side, you see the egg production chart. You gotta have an Excel spreadsheet so you can keep track of how many eggs you get every day, and then the formulas figure out what your average per day is and that type of thing.
Well, I can just tell you by looking at those numbers, it's around 5.
Yep. And here's all of the months since they grew up big enough to lay eggs. I look down in there.
Oh, wow.
When I record what we got, this water right here, I turn it on occasionally, and it adds water to that barrel. When it comes out the top up here where I made a hole, then it'll spout up here and I know to shut it off. Then it's always fresh water. It's feeding the chickens water by gravity. Water goes down, goes through that white tube, comes over here, and you notice the hens reaching under there and touching that little red
Yep, I see him
chicken
checking at
orifice,
something.
and water comes out. They get a drop of water. They've been doing that since they were babies. There's a little place that's shaded, so the corn isn't doing as good as I'd like, but it'll grow here.
When did you start your corn? Yours is like 2
Well-
feet, 3 feet taller than mine.
It was probably started 2 months ago.
Oh.
So all of this is going to end up being compost. Not a success on my corn.
Because it's not enough sun?
I think so. It's wrong for the tassel to come up here to pollinate the silk down there and to have this not in a cob.
Yeah.
And this one hasn't gone to that part yet. It's just now starting to produce the silk. And in one of these notches, usually 2 on a stalk, will be the corn. So we'll wait and see if this variety does better. And this is a lemon tree. The reason I put it in this corner is so it's protected by the walls in the house. And when the cold winter seasons ever come back again, this won't be froze back and lose 5 or 6 feet of the tree.
I want to see your blackberries.
Well, if you look real careful,
It got under the
you
fence?
Went under the foundation of the fence and came over on this side. But they're on the other side.
Let's go around.
But yours look a lot better than mine. My carrots are never longer than that.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't learned the secret yet.
Well, I've got hundreds growing right now. We'll see how they turn out.
If you get long ones, I'll be jealous. Now, because this is so hidden, these are being allowed to come out further than I probably would have liked for them to have done. I could have pulled them back at the right time of the year, but they're covered in blossoms and in hundreds and hundreds of berries.
You are the king of the trellis.
Yeah, we learned how to make our trellises after we bought a lot of them. We take fencing material that's about 4 inches wide, 6 feet long. We set our saw to cut them in like 1-inch strips.
So you've cut all this wood up.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I lay them out in a pattern on a piece of plywood. put them on a pattern, and build little blocks on the pattern so that the boards just land in the exact same spot every time. And then
How many berries do you have popping out right now?
just tons of them. But they like the sheltered environment right here.
Gosh, I love my blackberries. So, this is one transplant
Yes.
you got from me how many years ago?
Well, I brought it over 4 years ago.
So you only had this for 4 years.
And
And look how tall that
I had
is.
a couple of starts come out, and I give them to neighbors, and I could have filled it in and made it, you know, even bigger, but I would like it to cover that square U shape, and send all the water to the backyard, and then put time clocks back there where I can control it easier.
And you ran all those pipes?
All of these pipes went to the backyard to the lawn. I took out the lawn and brought the pipes up in the middle of all of my beds.
So how are you controlling 6 stations?
I have different clocks in different places for different reasons.
Out there you have clocks?
Oh yes, most of them.
I gotta see those.
right.
Because I realize you're bringing all the water from one place, but how you're controlling 6 lines is where it gets complicated.
Well, you saw that schedule, right?
Yeah, I saw the schedule. That I understand.
Now, if you had a big clock, you could control 6 stations per clock. But
Are those birds you love?
yeah, well, not those. Those are the big doves. They're okay. It's those little pesky ones that get in my way. All right, so off of this Narwhal water line coming off the house, I run my water feature, waterfall, and I also run the drip line, which you see the drip line just laying on top of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have a cold season that freezes the water in the pipe.
You don't worry about covering it.
Didn't have to cover that one. But that one's going to all the pots. Every pot.
Everything we see back here, basically.
Everything that has a drip line need for a
That
pot.
one line right there is doing everything
Yes.
equally.
And
Okay.
it comes in here and it splits. Goes that way, it goes this way.
Well, then how does the 6 stations work?
Well, then I have a separate timer coming off of those main water lines that are now coming up here where that used to come out to the sprinkling system for the grass. I brought this pipe right up in the middle of this bed, put a bubbler on it, and this one comes on from the front yard and gives watering to these 4 pots. So that's the only one that's working off the front yard.
This one in here,
Yes,
because it's underneath all the
Yes.
ground and it's connected to what the sprinkler system used to be.
right.
But all
it
the
used
rest
to
of
go-
them are connected by drip to this one faucet. That's crazy.
I think it's
So you ran one long tube, black thick tube, around the entire perimeter of the yard from that one station.
yes.
But then how do you get to the back over here?
Right here, I have a main water line coming in that I brought back here with one thing. This one goes to the drip lines, also different drip lines. So there's the main drip line, then there's this one, okay, and it's controlled off that clock right there.
Okay, so I don't understand this. This is connected to the front. It's
Ju-
not. It's
just
its
water
own.
pipe. It just give me water, I'll put a clock in it, and then
Okay.
from there I'll run.
But you added this.
I added this.
Okay.
I dug a trench from where the water was in the backyard, brought the pipe all the way up to here. Then, at every big flower bed here, I'll put a separate timer connected to a hose bib, and it will control just this bed.
So you're able to control creating timers in the middle of a line.
Yeah, just
I
bring me.
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, just bring me water, and the timers work on 2 AA batteries, and they last for over a year. So occasionally I come out and replace the battery.
I don't understand that. There's a lot of attachments to get that to set up.
Over here is another timer, and it's controlling this entire
Hedge.
edge.
Now, Why do you need so many timers? Are you doing different levels of water in these areas?
I can just control this whole bed on one little $30 clock. Most people have one clock and they do everything on that one clock. And when they have a repair problem, nothing gets watered. When I have a repair problem, I'm only losing one bed at a time and everything else is in balance.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I buy a bag of onions. The little tiny onions become big onions. They're little onion bulbs. And I just go along and stick them all over everything.
Mm-hmm.
As they grow up, the flavor of the onion keeps the bugs down.
Cool.
And I'll throw in some garlic while I'm doing it. Because I built all of this and I never took into account a lighting system.
So your regret is not wiring things before you put the ground in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're doing now.
here's 10 lights and a timer, and has to be corded. Now where am I going to put it? They have to be in a long line. I don't have a consistent long line. You do at your house.
Why?
You could go right along your
Outside border.
yes,
Yeah.
and you could have these lights as little lights around your garden, okay? But mine, I should have had wires coming up in every bed, so I could have had lights in there.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have to do something with solar lights.
Well, how long did it take you to do all this?
Every couple of days I do something. Last 4 years that we lived here.
Every couple days? 4 years. Well, that was fun. I love going to my dad's garden. He always has so many great ideas that you can come away with, and I hope you did too. I'd love to take a moment now and see what you've been working on. So if you'd like to share your garden videos and photos with me, I would love to be able to share them here on this channel so people can also see what you've been doing, and we can learn from each other from great ideas that you've been doing. Even if it's just one pot that you have, please share, and I will work on presenting your garden in the next upcoming videos. The link will be in the description below, and like always, subscribe, comment below, and share your different ideas of what you liked and how we can benefit from each other. Thanks, and have a great day.